Jim, our next question sent to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from Ron Black. I recently came across a clip of Jim talking about TNA. In it, he compliments Mike Tenay on his commentary skills and being the format reader. Can Jim give any examples of the things that made Tenay a good commentator, and if possible, the format reader? What could the commentators of today learn from Mike Tenay? Oh, that rhymes.
Well, first of all, Mike obviously was a wrestling fan going back to when he was a kid, and he had heard great announcers and heard not only what they said that got guys over, but sometimes what they said that maybe was detrimental out of, accident or whatever. He had experience. He had been not only watching the product, but then since he'd had the time in WCW, he had experience announcing as well by the time that he went to TNA. But he's again, a smart guy, wrestling IQ smart. He again, being a fan and seeing some of the best in the business over that time. He saw and knew what got over and what didn't. He, tried to do the best he could with some of the modern sports entertainment that he'd get, blindsided with from time to time. Don West was a great guy, and what an energy level he had, but he didn't know anything about wrestling announcing when he got started, so he just had to be the enthusiasm. And Mike had to carry in terms of getting the issues over, getting the talent over, explaining matches, explaining backgrounds. And he had that knowledge. You didn't have to just give him bullet points as an announcer that he would read without any meaning or context. He knew what they meant, and he could flesh them out on his own. And it's just knowing how to phrase certain things. A lot of wrestling announcing is on the fly we used to try to do this. JR did, I did, Tenay's done it. The announcers today, I don't know that it's possible to, but when somebody did something that was totally illogical or stupid or missed, a move that missed, you have to be able to make up any number of excuses on the fly for why that he was trying to hit him, but he didn't, or we don't know what he was thinking, whatever the case. Just shit that you see in front of you, you have to be able to react to. And that comes with experience and knowing wrestling. And that's why Mike was good. As a format reader, that was the rib. The production meetings in TNA, they had a conference room at the offices in Orlando at Universal Studios. And every day, at whether it was 11 o'clock for the pay-per-views or noon for a TV taping or whatever, they would have the production meeting where the producer, Keith Mitchell, the director, Dave Sahadi or Tim Walbert, Shitstain, because he was on the creative team, Mike Tenay and Don West, the announcers, myself, and whoever some of the other agents were at the time at various points, D'Lo Brown or Simon Diamond or Scott D'Amore, plus Jeff Jarrett and Dutch Mantell, and a variety of the other television crew and people involved in the office would have a production meeting for the shows we were going to do that night, read through it, assign referees, assign producers or agents, see if there was any issues that the truck needed to know, everybody from graphics to music, right? You read the format. Well, Mike Tenay was deemed with the task of reading the format. And I've told this before, but I felt so bad for him because he would have to sit there and in a monotone, non-judgmental voice, he couldn't roll his eyes. He couldn't fucking get off topic. He had to just read what was on the format. He had to read these things that Shitstain had written. And besides the words that were misspelled and the overall lack of any kind of professionalism and literacy, there was the goofiness. And then it was our job. Mike it wasn't his role to play. He couldn't chime in and say, well, okay, if 36 guys are having a fight in the parking lot, then Dave Sahadi, for your purposes as director, How many cameras have we got in the parking lot? How many cameras have we got over behind the fucking mobile home? And how many cameras have we got in the women's bathroom? Things that Shitstain never understood about television, didn't know how to prepare for, and didn't know were going to come up, but had to be asked because that way the broadcast could function. I would usually be the one to do that because everybody else just wanted to keep their head down and not get heat with him. So Mike would read these formats, and every once in a while, because I knew him, I could see him non-visually but mentally rolling his eyes at the shit that he had to read. That's why he was a great format reader. He had to read that shit with a straight face and in a straight voice, like that everybody in that room wasn't secretly laughing or pissed off at why is this fucking moron writing this show. That was that. And it was especially embarrassing whenever the representative from Spike Television would come off the golf course and actually sit in the production meetings, because I had the feeling that he was going back to Spike and going to he was also the same guy that did the UFC shows back then. And I could see him laughing with the fucking UFC TV crew going, you wouldn't believe the moron that writes that wrestling show. He can't even spell cat. They fucking laugh at him behind his back because it's all horse shit. It was embarrassing.
Mike Tenay may have made the greatest commentating debut of all time. That When Worlds Collide AAA pay-per-view in November 94, one of the greatest pay-per-views ever.
Yeah.
It was Chris Cruz and Mike Tenay. Mike Tenay had a radio show, The Wrestling Insiders, a great radio show out of Las Vegas. But to the best of my knowledge, he was never a commentator.
He had never done television.
And he killed it. He was amazing that day because, it's one of the things you need today. Excalibur is this to an extent that it's bothersome to someone like me. But you need someone to explain shit and make it sound logical and you understand and it draws you in. And Mike Tenay explained Lucha Libre to a lot of people that never knew anything about it before.
Well, and see, here's the difference between Mike and Excrement. Besides the ridiculous visual, there was Mike, a grown adult man. He looks like an announcer. He's not an ex-jock. He's not even trying to, like Excalibur, play one on television, even though nobody thinks or knows that he was. Mike was a grown adult man with a good broadcast voice in a learned fashion, explaining things for people who didn't know them instead of screaming buzzwords at people that already knew what the fuck he was talking about to begin with. And he didn't ridiculously go so deep into screaming every Spanish move of a name. Excrement does the same thing with Japanese stuff. But Mike informed people about what Lucha Libre was, the effect on the culture, who the people were, and some of the key moves and things without going so deep that you were lost without taking notes. And he wasn't just I know Excrement has gone through adolescence and puberty, but he never lost the attitude. He's still a fan doing commentary over VHS tapes in a basement for fun because he's 20 and he delivers pizzas for a job or whatever. But now he's a 40-something-year-old man. He sounds the same way. Tenay sounded like a learned broadcaster explaining details about this new form of sport that you were watching on that pay-per-view. And he just had a more, and it always has, he has a more, what's the word I'm searching for? Well, they used to call him the professor, Mike Tenay, professorial. God, help me with a word.
Well, the professor is the big thing that everyone called him. And, on WCW TV, it wasn't easy to explain all these things when you have Dusty Rhodes on one side of you and Bobby Heenan on the other side of you. And he did it. It wasn't just lucha.
That's what I'm saying is he's a straight guy. He's not trying to be part of the show. He's trying to sell you the show and explain the show. The other idiot with a mask because he used to wrestle 20 years ago for outlaw shows in a fucking barn somewhere. Now he's on national TV. He doesn't have a broadcaster's voice, a broadcaster's cadence or delivery, or the gravitas in his manner that makes it makes you feel like that he knows more about the thing, that he knows more about the subject than you do, and it makes you think he's a fucking basement dwelling nerd. Guys with broadcast voices that aren't gimmicks, that are straight men, that are the salesmen of the product. You know and believe they know more about wrestling than you do. That's why they're in that job telling you, but they're not annoying with it like some fucking Mark goof like excrement. That's the difference. I've seen a picture of him once and I put that out of my mind without the mask on, but if he had debuted as a human being, as an announcer, instead of trying to trade off his dubious pseudo-celebrity in the underground wrestling community, if he'd have debuted as a person wearing a fucking collar and tie that was informing us about these new wrestlers we may not have heard of, that may have flown. But when you got a fucking idiot and a gimmick, just because he's friends with the bosses, even though nobody's ever heard of him, and he wants to, every time somebody does something, well, that's the same thing he did to me in Japan in the Korakuen Hall 18 years ago. Fuck you. The people, even though it might be true, because yes, he did go work outlaw shows in Japan, like the other marks do. They take little, if any, money to go to Japan and kill themselves because they can say they did it. But I guarantee you, past the really hardcore AEW audience, everybody thinks he's full of shit. No way that pudgy guy in a fucking gimmick Mexican luchador mask actually wrestled in Japan, even if he did, because it looks preposterous. That's the difference between a quality announcer that instructs and informs the fans and a goof that tries to be part of the show himself.
Well, I certainly wish we had more Mike Tenays on commentary today, but do you know what he's doing right now? Do you know what he's doing today?
I think he is doing something with sports and gambling in Las Vegas again, right?
Well, I don't know about that. I was going to say that I heard that he's trying to make his computer run faster.
I'll make you run faster. I'll chase you out of this house right now. How many of these daggum commercials are we doing here today?
We're popular. We're very popular.
Boss of this show, boy, you would think we've done everything we can to run these sumbitches off, you would think, but nevertheless, they keep coming back for more. Well, folks, if you want your computer to run faster, I'll guarantee you that as soon as I figure out which one of these sponsors does that, I will there it is right now. Our friends at IOLO, folks.
Yes.
Did you know that making your computer run faster can also make it more private and secure? Well, I guess that makes sense. It's more efficient all the way around, but it's because your computer is constantly being slowed down by unwanted apps. The apps that come up knocking on your door on your front porch in the evening time, begging for candy. You don't want those apps. You don't want tracking apps that follow you around the web. You don't want to give off tracking signals. Imagine if your wife got a hold of that tracking app. She could find you down at the massage parlor. You even viruses and malware. You know, they rubbed me the wrong way last time I went in there. Malware can slow you down.
Will you stay on topic? What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about these social sites where people that want to be social get on the internet and they get just raked over the coals. Criminals are cashing in on personal data that they collect from you on the internet, folks. I'm not trying to scare you, but your lives are all in danger. And so is your computer, but there are simple steps that you can take to protect your privacy and your identity. You don't want your identity stolen, folks. One of these days, you might want it back. When you type the phrase "why is my" into Google, one of the very first autocomplete options is "computer so slow." I said this last week on the program. Many of the Cult of Cornette members tried it. Top answer when you type in "why is my," come to find out, is poop green. Poop green is the number one answer. Why is my? There are actually 3 different poop colors in that in the top 10, but I don't know what's going on with these people. But if your computer's slow, that's a question that thousands of you are going to ask every day. Performance lag is a significant complaint, especially from wives, girlfriends, and highly paid hookers. You can speed up, secure, and simplify your digital life with Iolo's all-in-one Windows optimization, antivirus, and online privacy software suite called System Mechanic Ultimate Defense. Yes, folks, with SMUD. If you have multiple PCs at home, if you move phones, if you got tablets, smart TVs, who wants to be the IT manager on all of that? SMUD, Iolo's System Mechanic Ultimate Defense System. I guess that's redundant. Redundancy repeated redundantly. It comes with a tech support plan that covers all of your internet-connected devices. Whenever you have a tech issue, you make one phone call, and Iolo will fix your issue immediately at any time of day or night. If you log on to that German porn site, and all of a sudden, sparklers start coming out of the back of your computer, you call these people, you say, look, I was looking at that Scheitze movie, and suddenly my computer blew up. They'll fix it. They'll call Berlin right off the bat. The German Goo Girls will redo the video, whatever you need.
What?
Folks, again, it just depends. If you get the gold plan, not all PC optimization software is created equal. But you're in good hands with the product that boasts thousands of positive reviews. It's been rated PC Magazine editor's top choice. Their top choice for top optimization software 8 years in a row. That sounds a little shady to me because optimization software was only invented 5 years ago. Possibly there was a pre-payoff. Anyway, I don't know what this shit is otherwise than it's great software which combines a lot of features in one place so you don't have to invest in different software. And who wants different software? Except if you need different colors to match different outfits. If you can get one software, that'll do it. And this latest all-in-one PC toolkit has exactly the tools you'll need to restore maximum speed, power, and stability. Comes with a hammer, a screwdriver, an auger. Also comes with some of that WD-40, so you can grease this shit right up and it'll run slicker than cum on a gold tooth. Folks, what the System Mechanic does for you is maximizes processor power, unleashes internet speed, increases drive speed, and protects against all kinds of shit that I can't pronounce. Right now, don't throw away your old computer. Improve your computer's speed. Visit Iolo, that's IOLO.com, and use the code JCE and save 60% on the SMUD, the System Mechanic Ultimate Defense, and get 30 days of live tech support free at the same time. That's Iolo.com. Use the code JCE. Holy jumping shitballs, your computer will run so fast you're never going to catch it.